I wanted to ask you, about CES coming up, and there's a focus on technology, there's a focus on strategy. Where does sort of the pain points, or what needs to be done from a technology standpoint, needs to be accomplished by the technology world, or implemented by the media world to make technology better? What's next? What can be done?
Yeah, I think there's two parts to that. So first of all, on the technology side, I think what we're seeing is there's some really clear themes that have sort of emerged over the past few years. And we're seeing those starting to come to further fruition, whether that's, augmented reality and VR, chatbots, that whole, AI, all those spaces and that tech is starting to emerge. I think, to your question, one of the challenges that we've still got with that technology is consumers are really looking for that frictionless experience. We've been trained now with our phones, the way we live, that we don't expect there to be dysfunction in our technology. We don't expect it to be hard. We expect it to make our lives easier. So I think that and seamless. So I think there is still a little bit of work to be done on the tech space to make that a more seamless from the consumer perspective. If I think about what Apple have done really well, they think about it from the consumer experience. And I think we need a little bit more of that in some of the tech that's being developed. So it's rather than thinking about it, from the tech space, not in isolation, but coming from that space, I think we need to think about it from the consumer experience first and foremost, and solving those problems in a seamless way. I think from a media perspective or an industry perspective, once we see that technology side become more seamless, and I think, the example, time will tell, but what's happening with, Snapchat spectacles right now, I think it's a lot more seamless experience. I think once we get a more seamless experience, we can then have the ability to take that to more people more often. I think right now there are still some challenges with scale and some challenges with friction in the technology that will need to be overcome.
In this kind of crazy world, what are the opportunities for brands around advertising and forms that you see coming up?
Yeah, so I think there's a couple of things going on. I mean, we've been talking about data for years, but the ability now to really pinpoint those audiences and the ability to drive a true engagement with a brand is probably on a moment, and a scale that we've never seen before. So that ability, I think, will in the future be able to help brands have a more connected relationship than they've had. I think part of the challenge that brands have in the space right now is we're still trying to get this right mix. We talk about art and science. We're still trying to get this right mix of creativity and the data. And I think we're learning a lot more, brands are learning a lot more, but I think we've got to get to a point where the format meets the experience. And I don't think we're quite there en masse yet.
So how is the creative format going to be solved? Will it be by, the geniuses that you guys have, the creative agencies and that are part of IPG, or other agencies? Is it sort of creative optimization that's driven by technology that optimizes creative? How might that develop?
Look, I think there's a couple of things. I think absolutely, where we've got the right data and the right moment, we can be delivering against particular individual needs in those moments. Awesome opportunity, right? Of course, we all get that. We can change our creative. The technology will absolutely enable that. And that's got better and better. And that's come a long way, actually, in particular in the last 2 years. I think the bit that, for me, I guess the more provocative bit is, what's today's version of amazing creativity in advertising? Because, we've had the era of incredible ads. What does that look like in today's world? I think, if I've looked at the last couple of years and I've looked at what great work looks like, it's right person, right message, right moment. But how do we scale that? How do we actually bring back that love of engaging with brands again? And I think we're seeing a bit of that with purpose. Brands are having more purpose in the biggest scale creativity that they're creating. That purpose doesn't always need to be worthy, it might just be utility. So I think brands are going to have to look beyond, the end of their noses, so to speak, and think about what's their role, what's their contribution, how is it beyond the product or the service that they're offering that they can really drive a creative engagement with people.